Alrighty, I think we can get started. Good morning. I guess for most of you, it's good morning or good afternoon or good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us on another What's New session for ITOM visibility. This time, AI Ops, Leap, and Cloud Accelerate. Yes, this is the first time that we're presenting AI Ops Leap. So if it's the first time that you're hearing about it, don't you worry, we'll get you covered. This is a release, store release, what's new session for Yokohama in Q1 2025. And we have a great team supporting us today that I'm going to introduce you to in a second. But specifically, this webinar is part of the Live on ServiceNow webinar series, which is a great event series that is going to help you deploy, adopt, and achieve value faster with our solutions. If you're not familiar with this series yet, we'll kindly ask you to please scan this QR code here, or otherwise I will just put the link in the chat so that everybody can access the registration link. Please do subscribe to this series and do not miss our events. A few housekeeping items for today. So please make sure, if this is not the case yet, please make sure to mute yourselves, and we will kindly ask you to also make sure to use the Q&A feature whenever possible to ask questions, so that we'll be promptly answering your questions. And also at the end of today's session, there will be a live Q&A if we manage to have some time. So we are here to really support you in every way that we can. This session is indeed being recorded. And as a matter of fact, we will share not only the recording of this specific webinar, but also the slides on YouTube, and specifically also the slides on the community registration page, so that you'll be able to use it at a later stage. And after this session ends, you'll be prompted to fill out a short survey. So please, we do appreciate your feedback. You've always been providing us with great feedback, and I'm sure you'll do a great job today as well. Now, for those that don't know me, I am Gian Mario De Luigi, and I'm part of the outbound product management team for ITOM Visibility, AI Ops Leap, and Cloud Accelerate. And today with me, we have super rock stars that are supporting this webinar, Eita Cho and Derek Kitzelman. They will be helping me to really make sure that we address any of your questions, any of your concerns. And so, yeah, we have the best of the best in the house. Now, let's get started because we have a lot of content, as I said. Let's get started with what's new in ITOM visibility. If you have missed some of our previous webinars, first of all, please make sure that you go and check them out, either on our community or on YouTube, because as you can see here, we have released a ton of new great features that are really going to help you achieve value faster with your solutions when your deployment. So as you can see here, today we're going to cover the Yokohama release and the, of course, Q1 2025 store release. When it comes to major new features that we'll cover today, we have file-based discovery for ACC, the new meatless architecture for ACCV, the discovery and service mapping patterns, and the cloud license estimator as per the Innovation Lab V2 release. Other new features include the renaming of what used to be called Cloud Native Operations, also known as CNO. Right now, we renamed it as Kubernetes Visibility Agent. For those of you that are not familiar with this technology, it's essentially an agent that will be deployed inside each one of your Kubernetes clusters. It's a very lightweight agent by nature and allows you to do basically gain visibility in a continuous or even not necessarily continuous, but rather scheduled way. So it's a really important way to keep monitoring your Kubernetes clusters and your cloud native environments. So if you're not familiar with Kubernetes Visibility Agent, please do visit the store and install it in your instances. Let's get started now with one of the biggest new features for this release, which is finally the file-based discovery that is supported with Agent Client Collector for visibility. This is a great new feature that is being required by many of you. And specifically, it allows you to have basically even a further layer of visibility within your endpoints. So we want to make sure that you can have more information about the software that is running within your Windows and Unix environments, even when the registration details are not there. So specifically, for those of you that are really familiar with Log4j, etc., you definitely had the need at some point to perform file-based discovery on your environments. Well, now you'll be able to do file-based discovery again, just triggered essentially from the agent client collector. So this will allow you to improve the compliance on the libraries that have potentially even reached, as an example, the end of life. So you'll be wondering why we added it, and we just said it. In this slide, I want to really focus on, first of all, how do you activate it? First thing that you need is the agent client collector for visibility content. And second thing that you need is you need to enable file-based discovery plugin on the store. Optionally, if you really want to achieve more outcomes with Agent Client Collector, we kindly recommend you to enable Software Asset Management Professional if you have entitlement to do so. If you own ITOM visibility or any of the clusters, I would say, of licenses that include it, please do make sure to check the data collection for Oracle Global Licensing and Advisory Services, or Oracle Glass, and the file normalization features. The agent client collector with file-based discovery is available with, again, the ITOM visibility licensing or any bundle that include ITOM visibility, as well as the DEX solution, digital and user experience. From a technical perspective, we want you to really make sure that file-based discovery is enabled, and make sure that the service account for the ACC is running under the Windows OS as list folder content, as you can see here in the technical details. And also, please keep in mind that file-based discovery checks run on a weekly basis. So there are also more news for those of you that are leveraging our agent client collector for visibility, because right now we're offering the option to deploy agent client collector with a midless approach. This is groundbreaking because many of you have been asking us for this feature for so long. And this is a breakthrough solution because it will basically allow you to connect your ACC to your ServiceNow instance via the ITOM gateway, as we'll see in a moment. This means that for all of your endpoints or environments that are not necessarily connected to your corporate network or to a VPN, you can basically ingest data from those environments. Even think about DMZ environments, etc. You can deploy the agent client collector and just make sure that you have the connection established with the ITOM gateway, and you'll be able to ingest that data. This is, again, a really cool new feature that we have released, and I'm so excited to be introducing you all to it. When it comes to the technical sort of functioning, how this new capability works, think about how the traditional connection of the previous configuration of ACC-V specifically used to work. We used to deploy mid servers. Right now, you don't need to deploy mid servers anymore. So there will be a direct connection to the ICS, so the ITOM cloud services that are running in the ServiceNow data centers. And there will be VPN requirements. So the inventory from roaming laptops will be now collected with just internet access. So there's not that VPN requirement anymore, essentially. If we go to the fact sheet to really make sure to better understand what are all the different aspects to this new feature, I would say if you want to activate it, please make sure that you download the latest version of the ACC for Visibility Content app, as you can see here, and the ITOM Cloud Services Core. If you're entitled to ITOM visibility or any bundles that include ITOM visibility, you'll be able to leverage this new feature. And from a technical perspective, we'll recommend you, first of all, make sure that the migration to ADC v2 is performed. Make sure that Hermes messaging service is installed and also configured, and we have the indications on how to validate that part here. And also, the pattern execution is not yet supported with this configuration of the agent client collector. Let's now talk about other great innovations in the space of discovery and service mapping patterns. Many of you ask us, hey, do you currently support this specific discovery of specific CI classes within these environments? Uh, every time, or most of the times, I have to say, there is very likely a positive response to it, although many of you have possibly not installed yet the latest version of the Discovery and Service Mapping Patterns Store app. So this is a big call for all of you to please make sure they install the latest version of this app so that you'll be enabled to discover way more of what you can right now. And specifically, as of this release, you'll be able to leverage 27 new patterns to discover AWS resources. Now, we're not going to cover each one of those, but again, in this slide, you can see that we specifically call out the Discovery and Service Mapping Patterns Store app with 1.25.0 version. If you have entitlement to ITOM visibility or any bundles that include ITOM visibility, you'll be able to leverage these new patterns. And from a technical standpoint, you'll see a few details here, but again, just the biggest call to action for all of you is make sure that you install the latest version of this store app. This is going to be really a breakthrough for all of you. And actually, one thing that I would say, make sure that you also submit all of your ideas via the idea portal, because we keep listening to your needs. And a lot of these new patterns are being shipped based on what you're asking for. So if you go to ServiceNow support site /ideas, that's the idea portal. And that's where you'll be able to input your new ideas. We're always listening for your feedback. Now, for those of you that want to have a better knowledge of your licensable resource count on your cloud environments, as specifically now we understand that your cloud workloads are constantly increasing, so you want to also make sure that you keep your licenses under control. We have released the second Innovation Lab release of Cloud License Estimator. This means that we offer you a centralized solution in order to better understand, first of all, how many licensable and non-licensable resources you have in the cloud. Then we help you understand what is the potential SU count for both IT operations management and IT asset management, CCM, so cloud cost management deployments, without the need to necessarily discover those cloud environments. So you can have a quick estimation. And we do support AWS Master Account and Azure Management Group, but for a shorter time to value. We support even more than that, but we'll talk about it in a minute. How do you activate it? Now, it's an Innovation Lab release, which means that you can effectively install it from the Innovation Lab section of our store. And you can just look up for ITOM Cloud License Estimator Store app. The nature of this app being an Innovation Lab release means that you don't have any specific licensing implications. And actually, it is planned to be released as a standalone app. if you think about the technical aspects to it, you'll have the support for AWS and Azure clouds as of this Innovation Lab release. You have support for AWS Management Group, for AWS Management Account and Azure Management Group. And we also offer the support for AWS credentialless account setup, as we'll see in a minute. This app specifically leverages a midless architecture, so you don't need to deploy any mid servers to perform these estimations. And it's not yet compatible with GCC. Now, first of all, I want to see if there are any questions. And please feel free to use our Q&A feature so that we can get you covered. You can ask all of your questions in there, and we'll be very happy to support you. In the meantime, I'm actually going to start sharing my screen in a second, and I'm going to bring you through the new interface for Cloud License Estimator. So I'll switch my screen here. And you should be able to view my screen. So I'm going to log in now in the instance. In the meantime, it disconnected. And I'm going to show you what that means. So if we go to the ITOM Cloud License Estimator, this is going to be your first view. So essentially, before we can estimate the new licensable resource count, it's essential to insert the credentials. So you will typically have to insert your credentials, even the ones that then you possibly leverage for discovery. And I see if anyone has any questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A. We cannot unmute use, so we appreciate your understanding. In this case, once the specific credentials have been set up, you can navigate to the main interface of Cloud License Estimator and start by creating a configuration. This configuration could be either for AWS and Azure as per the Innovation Lab release. And as we said before, you can decide to either have a credentials-based or role-based configuration. In this case, you can always choose whether you're going for a management account. As we said before, we offer the support to it. And in case you want to have a credential-less approach, you need to set up the AWS Accessor account configuration, for which we have a dedicated menu. In this case, we have a lot of either member account or management accounts configuration that have been created. And as you can see here, in order to create this credential-less approach for AWS, you need to insert, of course, which name and account ID are you referring to, which credentials, management account, accessor account, and accessor role ARN. Once this is configured, and here we've done plenty of pre-configurations. Here I also prepared an out-of-the-box configuration. So what I did in this case is a role-based with specifically an aggregator account, aggregator name, and aggregator region. So in this case, after we have selected that configuration, we'll just click on Run License Estimator. This will basically trigger two different steps. The first step will be more about understanding whether the credentials that are being provided or the setup that is being configured, so that configuration is valid or not. And in this case, we have an account validation. So the connection check is completed. And then we have the resource count that is in progress. If we look at the resource count here, as a matter of fact, we'll have the specific application details. And if we filter out the item, you can see that we also have the cloud cost management specific resources that are being factored in. And we can see that the status is in progress, but in a few seconds, this status will be completed. And as a matter of fact, we have logs here. So as we can see, the status is complete. So, and we can also see what went well in this case. in extrapolating the information that we need for licensable resources. And we can just download the report there. If we open it up, we can see the account validation details, all the details that we have inserted, and specifically there will be total resource count with the breakdown of ITOM and CCM, specifically licensable resources. So if we scroll down, we have a CCM section and an ITOM section where the licensable resources are in green. We can see the resource count, whether it's licensable or not, the ratio, so the count per SU, subscription units, and the license count. So we have tons of information here that is provided in a very simple manner. And if there are any questions, please feel free to leverage the Q&A box once again. I'll just wait for a second to see if there are any questions. Okay. So I guess we can keep going. Second, or I would say the next feature is not necessarily only a feature, is way more. It is, as a matter of fact, something that I'm really excited to introduce you to, which is a new, completely different approach to the IT operations automation, which is AIOps Leap. Just to give you a little bit of more context, the traditionally, let's say, not necessarily even legacy, but I would say widespread automation tools do not necessarily focus on specific IT automation domains, like IT operations. And there is a general complexity in identifying resolutions for specifically IT operations problems. With AIOps Leap, you have a new GenAI driven approach, and we'll see how it's GenAI driven, because this is not necessarily only a marketing claim. This is GenAI applied to real use cases, allows you to focus on IT operations automations opportunities. You'll be able to create resolution steps that you can then either use to create automations with your existing automation tools, or to create playbooks within the platform. That's up to you. So AIOps Leap is a great solution if you want to reduce your MTTR when it comes to resolving IT operations incidents, or I would say whenever you want to increase the IT operations automation coverage. And it allows you to, first of all, identify what automation opportunities you have when it comes to IT operations, specifically looking at past closed incidents, and in the future will be way more. And you can group those together by topic and priority. Then you'll be able to analyze these automation opportunities in order to basically get to specific resolution steps thanks to AI. And then you'll be able to leverage potential benefits, calculations, based on the automations that you'll be implementing. And we'll see that in a minute. When it comes to how you activate AIOps Leap, first of all, you need to download the latest Innovation Lab release of AIOps Leap, because it's available in Innovation Lab. That means that, yes, for this specific app, you do require ITOM Professional Plus entitlement, or any bundle that includes it. And we'll see later on how you can generate Leap with a separate entitlement for it. But essentially, AIOps Leap, first of all, leverages ML clustering technology in order to create topics and specific automation opportunities. Second, it leverages GenAI and now LLM specifically. So you will have specific calls that will be invoked to generate topics and resolution steps. And generate leaps is a step that we'll see in a minute. It's something that requires the Now Assist entitlement, but that's what we want to make. We want to make it really flexible so that you can choose the best approach. Now, before, again, we get into the technical details, I see many of you are attending there, so If you have more questions, we're happy to get those. All right. Let's see how it works in a real use case. First of all, AOP Sleep targets specific personas such as the automation architect or automation engineers, if you have such personas in your companies. The first thing that it does, it looks at IT operations incidents, the past ones, the ones that have been closed, and it performs ML-based clustering on them. What it does right after that is it creates automation opportunities based on the groupings of these incidents with a specific topic that is related to it. And it, first of all, prioritizes these automation opportunities and also associates a savings estimation to them. So you know exactly which ones you should be acting on for, first. And then that input is taken from Now Assist, so from our GenAI, together with work notes and resolution notes details. And AOP Sleep will create resolution steps, so prescriptive guidance in order to say, how can you solve that incident? How can you resolve that incident next time that it occurs? And not only that, these resolution steps will be able to be used in order to create a problem record so you can do proactive problem management. Now, this is extremely important because for each incident topic and for each automation opportunity, I would say, you'll have resolution steps, which means you know how you can proceed to automate those use cases. And then when it comes to deciding how you want to implement to actually have something concrete that is leveraging those resolution steps, it's up to you really. It's either you decide to leverage your existing automation tools such as Ansible and create your own automations, or we offer you the ability to leverage Playbook Assist to create automation playbooks or leaps, as we call them. These automation playbooks are integrated within the service operations workspace. So every time that you have a new incident that is part of that topic, you'll have an integration that would allow you to essentially call out the playbooks that you have already created, which means that with just one click, the operator will be then able to solve an incident or even automate that process altogether. And not only that, but once you deploy these playbooks, you'll be able to gather insights from them, which is a really important feature because in this way, you'll have a clear estimation of how much time you're saving and how much potential money you're saving. When it comes to implementing AOP Sleep, there's also a maturity journey that we suggest. The first part, the crawl, the initial approach is to identify and prioritize your automation opportunities. So you know what is your potential when it comes to IT operations automation. The walk phase is about generating resolution steps and creating a problem record. And then the run phase is to create your automation playbooks or again, creating your own automations with your own specific automation tools. And please do keep in mind that automation playbooks can be created within ServiceNow if you have the leap generation, if you have the Playbook Assist entitlement, which is part of Now Assist. Now, and for those that are not familiar with the Q&A box, you just need to click into More and then click Q&A option if you haven't found it yet. I know that Zoom sometimes can be tricky to use. Thanks, Saita, for pointing that out. So I'm going to get back to my browser and I'm going to share with you the, we're going to go through the AOPS demo. So just one moment, as even this instance locked me out. Even this instance is so excited about what's coming with AOP Sleep. So when it comes to AOP Sleep, we have a full new dedicated workspace. And this is how it looks. And again, this is just the Innovation Lab release. So the first iteration, which means that the general availability, which is planned to be introduced in May, so very, very soon, in less than 1 month, will be even cooler. And I can't wait to show you that part as well. So this is the homepage. And as you can see, once you install AI Sleep, once you have those incidents, they will be automatically analyzed with a machine learning based approach altogether with Gen AI. And you have, first of all, a categorization of automation opportunities here based on priority. You have an estimation of the potential benefits that are deriving from these automation opportunities in terms of monetary and time-wise savings. And then you have a list that can be ordered based on the automation opportunity, based on the status. And we have all sorts of different statuses that we'll see in a moment. You have a lot of information about, again, the savings, the record amount, which means how many incidents are part of that specific topic. So automation opportunity, the monthly frequency of tasks, which is a good indicator of the importance of this automation opportunity, the average manual work notes count, average reassignment, a lot of different information, especially the business impact and the projected savings impact. Now, when you're going to get started, you're going to have a lot of automation opportunities where the steps, resolution steps have not been generated, which means that this is what this is going to look like. You can generate those resolution steps in here by clicking this specific button. And once we have triggered that mechanism to generate resolution steps, you can also see that here you'll have all the related incidents that are part of that specific automation opportunity. And while this is happening, you can see that whenever the resolution steps have been created, this is what you will have in front of you. A detailed set of resolution steps that are extremely precise, and they say exactly what needs to be followed in order to reach that level of automation. So in this case, we have, again, the automation opportunity is already assigned. But the cool thing is you can also generate a problem record. In this case, it has already been generated based on the information that is being transmitted from here. So for those of you that want to do proactive problem management, this is a great opportunity. And whenever you have then the opportunity to create a leap directly from ServiceNow, you can just click on this button and this is what will happen. Oh, in this case, I need to do another impersonation. And I'm gonna impersonate this other user. So we go back to that very same workspace. And we go to, again, one of those where we have the status of ready to create leap. In this case, we'll just trigger the leap creation and the workflow studio interface will be triggered. What's going to happen in this interface is that all the information that is being collected in that automation opportunity together with all these resolution steps is going to be ingested by Workflow Studio thanks to the Playbook Assist capability. And this will analyze all this information to come up with a preview of what your workflow will look like. And this is an example of a pre-generated workflow. You can see that you can edit each one of these parts before publishing that workflow, either on the diagram view or board view. This is the most typical, I would say, Workflow Studio interface, so that you can add different subset of different subflows, I would say, to this workflow, and you have a huge margin to really customize it whatever way you prefer. And at the same time, you can see that from this interface, the problem record has been also created. So this will take a minute now to generate. Our instance today is not the fastest as you have seen, but again, this is extremely important because once you have generated those leaps, and here we have the list of all the leaps or playbooks that have been generated, you'll be able to establish, okay, what are the savings that are coming up from here? So when it comes to the savings estimation, again, we need to consider the total agent hours saved and the total savings, the tickets resolved by Leap, all this information. And here you have a breakdown of automation opportunities by priority and by status. You have the top leaps based on tickets resolved or by time savings as well. And of course, you can edit this interface in UI Builder. Now, this is just a preview, but for GA, we have an even nicer interface where you have even more indications of exactly how much you are saving for those playbooks that you have created. So this is a really important tool, again, to really maximize the level of automation they are introducing whenever it comes to IT operations. I know it's a lot to take in. Just want to take a moment, Eita. I don't know if we have any questions. You feel free to interrupt me anytime. And actually, in the meantime, I'm gonna share my screen once again, and I'm gonna show you another cool feature here. Whenever you access the service operations workspace, and whenever you go to a specific, you navigate to a specific new incident, you will see that there will be a leap button that is related to that specific incident. And here, when you create those playbooks or leaps, they will be automatically associated in this specific space. Now that depends on the different playbooks that you have created. But as an example, for Citrix login issues, you have a leap already that is being generated. With all the different steps, they will be triggered whenever you want to trigger this specific playbook, which is really, really cool. You have a cool integration that is out of the box in the service operations workspace. So your operators will be facilitated to solve the incidents in a really streamlined way. Now I'm going to share again my presentation. And again, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them because we have the final part of today's presentation, which is related to, yes, the cloud accelerate. And we have a lot coming in this area, and I can't wait for the Q2 release yet. As you can see here, if you have missed the previous What's New sessions, we have released a ton of innovation when it comes to Cloud Accelerate. We're talking about 4 major innovations over the past 6 family releases and 12 store releases, with much more that is coming around it. If you look at the major new features and enhancements, I would like to call out the Cloud Account Management and Cloud License Estimator new features that are related to the Cloud Accelerate, or I would say to the cloud part of the ITOM offerings. But specifically today, we'll be focusing on the Cloud Account Management new feature, which is coming and is available already in Innovation Lab release and is coming in less than 1 month as of the GA plans. But you'll be wondering, why are we even talking about cloud accounts? Well, for those of you that are in highly regulated industries, we know that a huge focus for you or a big challenge is to really achieve cloud regulatory compliance. Specifically, you'll be familiar with the matters requiring attention, also known as MRAs or SOX, or industry-specific regulations such as DORA, HIPAA, etc., which are really specific to those customers that need to meet specific mandates when it comes to cloud compliance. We know that you are increasing your cloud investments, and many of you have come to us really asking for help when it comes to having clearer understanding of the overall cloud inventory for both accounts and then cascading down to the resources. Or you want to have a better idea then because of the mandates of the account ownership because the regulatory bodies want you to showcase how you have clear ownership or workflows that are making sure you have a constant ownership that is assigned to those resources in the cloud accounts. And then you need to also make sure you have service context, cost controls, and potentially identify vulnerabilities within those environments. So these are some of the use cases for which you always come to us and ask for help. And this is why we are releasing Cloud Account Management. Now, Cloud Account Management is, again, an Innovation Lab release. So I want to know who is by now familiar with Innovation Lab release. Just want a reaction, you can do a thumbs up. I see. I see. So Innovation Lab is again just a separate section of the ServiceNow store. And for those of you that really want to master their cloud, oh, I see some thumbs down, which means someone is not necessarily familiar with Innovation Lab. So if you go to ServiceNow store and you look for cloud account management, you search for it, you'll see that if you scroll down, there is a dedicated section that is called Innovation Lab. So if you have entitlements to visibility, in this case, you can try this app for free in your sub-production instances. Now, what CAM does, it puts governance for you to make sure you have compliance within your cloud accounts. So we basically provide you a full inventory of your cloud accounts. We tell you how they are configured. We tell you about their account severity. We tell you how much you're spending for those accounts, all in one single pane of glass. And we make sure that you can provision your new cloud accounts either with existing automation tools such as Terraform or with direct API calls, cloud native interface, so that you can impose configurations, ownership, tagging. You basically can have a clear governance around your cloud environments. When it comes to technical details, you have many here in the fact sheet. I said, please make sure that you install the latest Innovation Lab release of Cloud Account Management. Make sure that you understand that, again, this is an Innovation Lab release, so only ITOM visibility entitlement is a prerequisite, but you can leverage this app on your sub-production instances free of charge. When it comes to technical details, then in terms of what you need to know, I would say the provisioning of new cloud accounts supports AWS accounts as of now. And that can be done either via cloud native interface or Terraform integration. The cloud suspension and reactivation is performed via the cloud native interface and is also enabled for AWS accounts. And if you want more technical details around the setup of it, in the slides they will pass you on, there's a knowledge base article for you. So even in this case, we suggest you to have a maturity journey to, first of all, think about the crawl phase where you have the account inventory creation. So we'll provide you with insights on how many accounts you have, where, and we'll give you insights on those with a visualization that offers all these insights and the ownership definition. You can leverage the CI certification policies so that you can enforce or you can effectively have attestation. Then the walk phase is more about lifecycle management. So let's say one of your accounts is not compliant anymore because either it doesn't have an owner or has exceeded a budget. You can suspend that account via, of course, in this case for AWS, your policies directly on AWS. And then when it comes to configuration, you can do configuration audits, this time for different of your accounts for AWS, Azure, and GCP to make sure that the configurations are meeting your expectations. And then the run phase will be about provisioning and leveraging workflows, automation workflows to really provision those accounts and make sure that they are meeting your governance rules. If you want to understand a little bit better how this all plays together, how this works together, especially from a technical standpoint, I would say the CMDB is populated via ITOM discovery. And we also leverage cloud cost management in order to really have cost insights in that visualization. So this is what's resulting in the visualization that we'll see in a minute. Then for the cloud account certification, we have the CMDB data certification that is leveraged. And in this case, we can do that for all the supported clouds that you can discover. Then if you want to do cloud account configurations, we leverage the CCG configuration policies, so cloud configuration governance policies that are dedicated to AWS, Azure, and GCP accounts. Then if you want to suspend or reactivate a new cloud account, in a managed account on AWS, we leverage the cloud native interfaces via service, basically for service control policies on the AWS side. And then when it comes to cloud account provisioning and onboarding, you'll be able to either leverage cloud native interface with API calls, or you leverage the Terraform Cloud APIs. So this is really up to you. We orchestrate the provisioning. We don't actually do the actual provisioning from ServiceNow. So I'm gonna go back for one more time to our instance. So in this case, the cloud account management is also available via a separate workspace. What you will notice is that the workspace is gonna be actually somewhat similar to what the GA version of it will be. I just want to make sure that one thing is clear here. The workspace concept is useful for you to have everything that you need, not only for one single user, but for multiple users. They will have different views of the workspace. So if we go to Cloud Account Management Workspace, let's start from the overview. And in this case, I'll just do another impersonation so that we can have that view. The overview page is the landing page for, I would say, CCOE leader / cloud leader. They want to have a quick overview of the critical severity accounts. So I have a breakdown of accounts based on severity and criticality. The insights are also available for suspended accounts or accounts that are due for certification when it comes to having an ownership. Then it's possible to have either the sort of card layout or list layout for all these accounts and having all different information when it comes to cloud billing, ownership, cloud organization, business context based on business application that is assigned, cost center, and certification status. So in this case specifically, we can just think of one of these cloud accounts, and the cloud leader or CCOE leader will be able to immediately validate whether there are configuration violations on these accounts and what's the severity of these configuration violations. Well, this is depending on the, I would say, CCG cloud configuration governance setting. So if we go to policy sets within cloud configuration governance, we'll see that there are out of the box configuration or policy sets that are shipped out of the box. So in this case, we have an AWS account, and the policies here, the policy set is including all these policies that we see here as an example. The AWS pending certification or account owner tag. These are all policies that will be for which each account will be audited. So if whenever there is a violation, the violation will be associated with its severity, and that is determining the severity of the account overall. There are also other details that are available for that specific account. And Safe Harbor notice, you will see more, as an example, the resource breakdown with the Q2 store release. So just 1 month, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about right in the store. That was one of the cool things that I wanted to show you. But let's say that now we have a requester experience. The requester will be able to have a breakdown of the cloud accounts that have been requested. And a requester doesn't necessarily need to be a specific end user, but it could be an engineering manager that is requesting for new accounts for their team, right? Could be really anything. They have a lot of different indications of or breakdowns of the cloud accounts that have been previously provisioned. In this case, we'll proceed by requesting a new one as an example in a development environment where we'll specify a specific owner. In this case, um, we can specify an owner there, the application service, a monthly budget limit, and we can even assign specific tags, business unit, cost center, anything really. These can be pre-populated, keep in mind. So the actual requester will possibly have to insert very little or if none of this information here. They will proceed, review, and submit. In this case, we also have the permissions to approve requests. So we'll be both requesters and approvers, which means that once that request has been submitted, we can then navigate to that request and decide to either approve it or in case there is a manual approval that is requested, or even see what workflows will be triggered. Because as an example here, we have a manual approval that is being triggered via a workflow that is behind all this provisioning. But we could potentially just skip this step and make sure that that's automated. So once that step then is completed, we have a financial approval, finance approval. How is that done? We have specific policies that are called from the workflow, like in this case, a budget approval. And we can see different versions as well of these policies. I want the current version. In this case, any request that is below 500 is automatically approved. Anything between 500 and 5,000 is automatically request manual approval, or above 5,000 will be automatically denied. So this is a really cool thing to, again, implement more and more automation so that you're compliant, in this case, from a cost control perspective, or it could be ownership perspective, all sorts of compliance needs that you want to have. And once that request is being processed, we can look at our requests and we can see the generic approval. In this case, we have a finance approval that is ongoing, and then we have a post approval activity. So I don't want to go into the nitty gritty of this specific case, but just wanted to show you how workflows are really making sure that we are offering the highest level of compliance across clouds. I know that we had a really quick overview of this product, but I wanted to make sure that we covered the basics of it. So I'm gonna just share my screen for the final part of this presentation. First things first, again, we want to make sure that you leverage what we offer continuously on live on ServiceNow. So please make sure that you scan this QR code or you access the link in the chat. If you're not familiar with a lot of different resources from a customer success perspective, we'll make sure to also include this slide, but please make sure to access ServiceNow Impact resources to really maximize the power of our platform, which is the AI platform for business transformation, where we have resources really that really help you with support and expertise to really get to value faster. If you need training and certifications, please visit the ServiceNow University. And if you need expert services, you can visit the expert services community. For each of these, you can scan the QR codes, or you'll be able to access the links in the presentation that we will share. If you also want to access the previous sessions that we have hosted, I would highly recommend you to access the ITOM Visibility and Cloud Accelerate Academy. In this case, these are the on-demand sessions. If you have missed any of these, make sure that you please access, that you scan this QR code, or you'll be leveraging this presentation after this session ends. But this is really valuable for you to really gather a lot of insights around our new products, our best practices. You'll find a lot of great materials in there. Now, I think that was it for today. We're just on time. So I really would like to thank you all for attending this What's New session. I'm looking forward for you to implement our different solutions.
John,
Yeah, sorry.
sorry. Yeah, I'm jumping in. So just to want to get some feedback from the folks. So let me just submit a poll, see what your feedback on this.
Thank
Could
you.
you just give your feedback on the features John had talked about? Which one you feel most interesting? Yeah, I'll be happy to hear your feedback. Thank you. We
This
see
is great.
the answer. Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that. Yes, this is
No, no. Yeah.
really good information for all of you that are submitting these answers. So please just keep your answers coming. We really evaluate your feedback, and I see great insights already. Really great insights. So
Yeah, I want to show the result. Yeah.
thank you, Eta. Yes, we see a lot of interest around all of these. Specifically, I think the highest interest is around Midless ACC, followed by Cloud Account Management, Cloud License Estimator, file-based discovery, where you see CNA upsleep. So it's great to see that we have a lot of interest. But I would say
Yep.
now that you're leaving the session, and again, thanks, Eta, for your really great support. For those of you that are going to be prompted out to a survey, if you want to know more about these specific features, and if you're interested to follow up with some of our reps, please make sure that you leave a comment in your survey so that we know that you're interested. Now, we really appreciate your participation, and Eta and even Derek, thank you so much for your great participation and great help. We all look forward to see you all soon in the upcoming Q2 What's New session for ITOM. So again, thanks all. Have a great rest of your day or of your evening, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you.